Hey everybody, Dave Pearson here, Regional Educator for L'Oréal Professionnel, representing the state of Florida. How's it going? So, how many of you out there have heard of L'Oréal Professionnel's new BlondStudio 9? Right? It's an amazing new technology. It will achieve 9 levels of lift, up to 9 levels of lift, with amazing cosmeticity, conditioning of the hair. It uses this new amazing powder. It is a blue-based powder. It comes in a very size-appropriate container for your color bar, and it contains an ingredient called L'Oréal complex. This L'Oréal complex helps to keep the hair hydrated and conditioned while we're achieving those 9 levels of lift. That lightener is used with 2 different dedicated developers. We have a 20 volume or a 30 volume, and both of these also contain an oil component. That oil component does a couple of things. First of all, once mixed with the powder, it kickstarts the catalyst, which is what allows us to get up to 9 levels of lift. Second thing it does is the oil in here helps to condition the hair secondarily to the L'Oréal complex that's in the powder. And thirdly, the oil in here also helps to conduct heat evenly throughout the hair while we're doing our lift. As part of the system as well is also dedicated foils. All right, so this is the new aluminum foil that we've launched in conjunction with BlondStudio 9. This foil is pure aluminum. It has no trace mineral deposits in it of other materials, which is important for this reason primarily. One, those trace mineral deposits that are in typical foils that we use for foiling, the mineral deposits heat up faster than the aluminum, and those can potentially cause burn spots in the hair while we're having this chemical reaction to create 9 levels of lift, right? There's a catalyst that happens that springboards us to be able to get to that 9 levels of lift. And this pure aluminum foil, without those impurities, we get a pure even lift and an even heat conduction without any of those spots and potential for hair burns. All right. It's also a little thicker than normal foil. It's also not perforated. All of these are for containment of heat and for even heat conduction. So what we're going to do today is we're going to walk through Erica. I have a new model today. It's not Ellie. So she has this amazing, cute little bob haircut. Found her in my storage unit. Start with the basics. Start with manufacturer's instructions. You can always thicken or thin as you prefer afterwards. Typically with the BlondStudio 9, I'm going to go with a 1-to-1 for a balayage, which is what we're going to do today. Perhaps I'll add a little bit more based off of consistency for my viscosity that I like personally to balayage with. But everyone has their own preference, right? Greek yogurt, fine Greek yogurt, pudding. So again, you'll find what's right for you. You're going to start with a 1-to-1 mix ratio, and then you can always go up from there, but you really don't want to go anything below 1-to-1. As I said, I'm going to start with a 1-to-1 mix ratio, so 15 grams of powder means 15 grams of lightener. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that. As you can see, the lightener itself is super thick and creamy, which is amazing because it's really easy to mix. It has a really great viscosity to it, and I will get up close so you can see how it mixes. All right, so there it is in my bowl. All right, I'm just going to take my brush and start mixing. Now, I am one of those people that believes all products should be mixed with a brush if you're not using a shaker, and versus a whisk. Reason why is that I don't like to introduce excess oxygen into the product while I'm mixing it. So what I find is it actually then doesn't swell as much, and I have a little bit more control over it when it's not super fluffy. All right, so there it is, a little creamy, right? So that's a 1-to-1. That's a little bit thicker than I like for balayage. So as we said, we can do an adjustments once we start off at manufacturer's instructions. So I'm just going to give it a little bit more, just to loosen it up a bit more. All right, let's just give that a nice little mix. All right, now this is looking more of like what I prefer, right? It's nice and loose. It still holds on, so it's going to stay where I put it, but it's not thick and it's not runny, which is super important for balayage, because if you get runny lightener, you're going to get bleed spots, and we don't want bleed spots. I'll go ahead and set that brush aside because I'm not painting with that brush. Now I'm going to put my gloves on for my actual application. Now if you notice, I am using clear gloves. One of the things that's a requirement if you want to create your own channel on L'Oréal Access, which is our new global education system. It's an online education system available to you 24/7, 365. And you're welcome to go ahead and create your own channel to upload content, share it with your friends, share it with your colleagues. It's a great way to do sharing of class education with new assistants that are coming on. Maybe they have different shifts. They can do it from home, which is amazing. But one of the things in order to get shared on Instagram, open to the world outside of your own particular channel, is really great content, sticking to brand information, and also use of clear gloves. So if you use black gloves, which we're all used to and I personally love, unfortunately due to some restrictions around the world, black gloves aren't acceptable in terms of hair use around the world. So for videos to be posted on our Access channel, we need to use clear gloves. So if you want to get posted, make sure you use clear. Hashtag no black gloves. Okay. All right, so I have my lightener mixed. I am not going to be using a planchette today. I'm going to just be using my hand. I have a little towel here tied to the base of my stand so that I can wipe my hands clean if I need to. It's all about being prepared. We're going to go ahead and get started. What I'm doing is I'm making a diagonal back parting. I want to just start to see the hair that I'm working with and where do I want to paint. So I gave her a fresh shampoo this morning. She's been towel dried and now air dried. And so she has a fair amount of blonde here, right, from previous applications. But I think I want to just intensify this a little bit more. And so I'm going to basically be working on this lower triangle here to get brightness at her face. And then on this side, I'm going to do the same thing. She has a concentration of lightness here already. These really beautiful pieces here, I want those to pop. So I am going to be using a balayage technique, but I am also going to sandwich those pieces within our foil, so it will help me also to conduct the heat. All right, and again, I'm going to be pretty much working in this section, and we're going to just leave the back as it is. Now, if we were going into the summer, I probably would introduce more colorful around the head, but since we're working on spring and we're talking about introducing just a face frame, that's what we're doing today. So that's going to be our concentration. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do a diagonal back section. Now I'm going to just pull this hair out of the way and give you a better view. So we have this section to work with. Now, this hairline piece, I don't really want to include that with what I'm working down here. So I'm going to scoop it out so that this piece can be over here with this stuff. It just happens to be a little shorter. And so we'll just pin it out of the way. So this is the piece that I'm going to be working on. All right, so it is check, right? So this is really a great opportunity for us to do 3D painting because when you're looking at the light here, the light hits this point here, which they've already pre-lightened. So I'm going to hit it again so we can get even more lightness. But when you have something where you have a front and actually a side And the third side, we can do a 3D painting. So we'll be able to actually paint the top, the front at the hairline. We'll be able to accentuate the line where the light hits the hair, and then we can bring it also around to the back side. And so that is what we're going to do today. So just like any time you're doing a balayage, you're going to take it between your thumb and your pointer finger. That's where you get your most amount of tension. All right, I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to apply some lightener to the back of my hand. So I'm not doing a lot of painting today. We're just doing a face frame application. So I didn't, want to go full planchette, but I can get away with this. So I'm going to draw a bead, got a nice bead of color. I have the hair tucked between my thumb and pointer finger, and I'm pulling it out, straight out, and then my brush is going to go on straight down, all right, with a slight angle, just so that I can get that line where the light is, all right, and I'm going to take another, and then I'm just going to work it up, all right. So that's where the light is hitting the hair, and so I want to make sure that that gets highlighted and saturated very well. All right, so we're going to add more lightener, take another bead, and again, I'm just going to keep it taut and reinforce that line. Okay. So it is a little difficult here because she does have, a short haircut. One of the reasons why I'm also not using a planchette, because I do need to reposition my fingers every now and again. I'm going to take another bead, and now this time I'm going to hit her hairline and that front. All right, so we want to go very close to her hairline. All right, and then you're just going to solidify that line. All right, and then so what I am doing is I am merging them together at the bottom. And I'm going to take another bead where I'm going to paint a third piece on the back. So I'm doing a triple point balayage, but I'm doing it in a 3D application. All right, so 1, 2, 3. Nice strong lines to work with. And then we're doing a full concentration of lightener at the end. So we're going to go ahead and take the end, fully saturate that. All right, make sure you're just working that through. Now I did choose 20 volume versus the 30. It's just a choice. You could have gone with 30. I do find with mannequin hair, you still don't get quite as much lift from 30 as you would think you would, but that has to do with the coatings that are put on mannequin hair. So 20 works for visual purposes for creating demonstrations, so that's what we're going for. All right, so now I have it, on my hand. This is why I have a towel here. I'm gonna wipe my hands clean. If you work clean, your work is. If you work cleanly, then the execution of your work is clean. All right. So now, since I am working on a shorter section, I did tear these, but I'm going to actually split them in half again. So I'm just going to use this and make a little tear. And then I'm just going to add that, and then I'm going to take the other one and sandwich it. Okay. That's going to give me my separation for, so that I don't get bleed marks, but the foil is also going to help me to conduct the heat from the lightener, right? She's not producing any head heat, but we are getting the heat from that catalyst from the Olicare complex in the powder. Once merged with the oil-based developer, the catalyst will trigger to create heat so that we can get some really great lift out of this. So I just want to keep it separate, and we're going to just move on. So now here, I kind of want this. This is where I want her money piece to be. This is where her hair is a little bit longer, so we're going to do our triangle pull. All right, so let's just clean this up. All right, remember I had reserved this part from this piece so that it could live within the money piece that I want to create. Or the pop piece. Perhaps pop piece is a better word. All right, good. So I'm going to take this between my pointer and thumb finger. I'm going to reload my hand with lightener. I'm going to create a bead, and then I'm going to start painting. We want this to be nice and taut. The hair should be smooth, and then we're going to go in and start our double point. All right, so I want this line to be nice and strong. And then this line will be equally as strong. It is the pop piece after all. Right, now just keep it clean. So I have a little excess coming out. Just take your brush, remove it. Use the end of your brush for this. You can just clean that right up. All right. As long as you clean up your little mistakes, then they don't become mistakes, right? Right. Let's take a little bit more lightener. I want these to be super, super strong. Right. And so I have that previous lightening existing here, and I want to lighten that even more. So I am going to go ahead and start my blend of my W here. All right. So I just want to blur that a little bit, and then have a nice saturation on the ends. Gonna need a little bit more lightener. Awesome. And then you drop it where it's going to lay. So again, I'm just going to take my foil. Just lift this. Add your foil. And then just cover it. And then you want to seal up your packet like normal, like you would be doing for any other highlighting application. And that's what this side looks like. All right. So super simple, not a lot of work, but it's going to be pretty impactful with the points that we did. We did a few double points and a single point. It's going to have a lot more lightness here at the bottom. And now we're going to go ahead and start her other side. I'm going to switch her around here, which actually makes it a little bit easier for me to work. I am a righty, and I want you guys to be able to still see. So, okay. So looking at this, how does this haircut fall? You want to be able to use the haircut as a guide, right? Essentially, we're contouring a haircut with lightener, and she has some beautiful lightness going on, but this piece that's in the front, I want it to be really, really strong. And so, basically, what I think I'm going to do is take everything from where I did my second point back here. I'm going to use that as a starting, and then I'm going to make a diagonal forward line right to her recession. Okay, and then this is the part I'm actually going to be working with for the most part. But I also do want to address this lower part as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this piece last. So I'm just going to gather that up and kind of just contain it out of the way while I'm working for the moment on this other section. You know, if this is a live guest, you kind of, you need to manipulate the hair so it's not sitting in their eyes, but you still need to manipulate it out of your way, right? So, and then I'm going to do a diagonal back, and this is the section I'm going to be working with. So again, keep your area clean. If you need to pin this out of the way to, work neat, then by all means, that's what I'm going to do. And then now I am going to sit in here. I can make two beautiful pieces in here. So again, this is a piece I'm just going to also move out of the way. So I'm going to focus below it. All right. This is going to give me a really nice 2-point piece of balayage right here, right from the lower part of her recession to right behind. Perfect. Okay. Welcome to my apartment. My dogs are home. All right. So again, this is going to be another 3D piece. I have the line where the light hits the hair. Then I have a front, a back, and an underneath. And so what I'm going to be doing is painting the line where the light hits it, the front, and then the top. I'm not going to be painting the underneath part. So loading up my hand again, creating a bead. I'm going to just apply it to that light line. Now, you can go to the back or you can go to the front. It doesn't matter which you start from. You just want to get it done. So excuse my elbow. Tilt over a little bit so I can get this done here. All right. And I'm just going to adjust my grip because I kind of lost it a little bit. But you still need all this hair to be tight, right, to be able to paint that front surface. Now I'm going to go ahead and add this line. Don't forget, sometimes you need to clean off your brush so that you can keep working clean. If your brush starts to get too loaded with product. Now I'm going to work on merging the three together. Right here, feathering in this line. Just giving a little bit of diffused softness right there. And then we're going to go for complete saturation on those ends. All right. Perfect. One more time. Complete saturation, nicely, softly feathered in zone 2 there. And adding my foil, sandwiching it together, and sealing it up. BlondStudio 9, no heat's required. It's generating its own. Okay. I'm gonna take a nice little wedge and separate this out. I just like to work clean. It's just me. All right. I'm gonna turn this around a little bit, and now I'm gonna just focus on here. So this is her, right? This is her swoop. This is where the bang, the pop piece needs to be. So now we just need to see, like, all right, well, it doesn't live there, right? So why move it back? It's going to live here. So play with it where the hair lives. So she already has a little bit of lightness here. So I think I'm going to use that. I'm just going to bring it further back here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to wipe my hands off again. I'm also going to clean my brush off. All right, it's just important to keep your tools clean. Okay. Now, I'm going to load my hand again and create a bead. Needs to be a little stronger. Okay, so I have a nice bead. And I'm just going to pull this hair with my pointer and thumb finger. Right, nice and taut. I'm going to go in with my bead, and I'm going to look and see where does the light hit? And like I said, I want to continue this piece of lightness, so I'm going to start applying it there. All right. Take another bead. Now I'm going to work down and then back up a little bit. What you don't want when you're balayaging is to move the lightener around a lot. Where you put it is pretty much where you want it to stay. If you do too much playing with it, you're actually removing it, and then you're going to end up getting pieces that look a little spotty. We've all seen those out there, right? Somewhat becomes a color correction. We've all had them, of course, when we're learning, but the practice makes permanent, right? So more practice, the more permanent and exact your painting skills become. Just going to solidify this second line. Make that stronger. Now I'm going to go for my saturation piece. So I'm going to add it right there. Needs a little bit more. Okay. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and put this in the foil. Again, you don't want to manipulate the foil, you don't want to move it around too much. You want the hair to stay where it's living. And then that way you're not going to get bleed marks because you're not trying to pull or push the hair somewhere where it doesn't want to live. Perfect. We're going to do one more piece. This is just going to be a one-pointer. There's a beautiful line right here where the light hits it, and I'm just going to reinforce that. So a face frame doesn't have to be 1,000 foils, right? It can be a few strategically placed pieces, which is what we're doing. So I have this little hanger right here. Just take that, get it out of the way. Again, we're going to just put the foil, seal it up. All right, so just to wrap up what we did 1, 2, 3, 4 foils on this side, and we did 1, 2, 3, 4 foils on this side. But the impact that's going to be able to make on her hair is going to make her beautifully bright around the face, perfect for springtime. All right, guys, so Erica's finished, and if I do say so myself, she looks absolutely stunning. The balayage pieces that we put in really accentuate her face, which is really what we wanted. We just did a face frame. We did four balayage pieces on the heavy side, 4 balayage pieces on the light side, all of which were sealed up in foil to get the added benefit of the heat conduction and heat retention. And then we just did a slight, alternating curl using a 1-inch and 1.5-inch iron. Gives it a little bit of volume, really just sets off that look. So this is a great haircut. A bob is super universal. You can wear it sleek and smooth or with a little texture, and always a good time to refresh your look with a little face frame. So have a great day. Things are looking brighter.